Passion pause. You don't know the background as to the development of these videos, but thanks to Emily, who is always ready at the last minute, coming through a car crash on the freeway, and here we are. I see this Word of God for this coming Sunday, which is the second to the last Sunday before Advent, as very critical. If you can get to the liturgy, please do, because we're talking about the last things: death, judgment, heaven or hell. And the challenge for me is the end of the world, for me and for you, will come on the day that we die. Now there's an upper reflection, a very positive reflection, but that's reality. That's the reality we all face. Our lives will end, and with that end comes the end of the world as we know it. Now, in our world, Jesus describes the world. In fact, this is his last discourse, this gospel, on the end of the world. And it's a long one, but he really takes time to have us focus on what's ahead of us. And what's ahead of us is hope. What's ahead of us is resurrection. But in the immediate sight, it doesn't look good. Jesus' longest discourse tells us what will happen. Now, we can be deceived. Yes, the world is progressing, but do you ever notice the progress of the world is usually in technology? That's where we see all this progress. But when it comes to the world, the quality of the world, is happiness a major reality with the amount of suicides going on in our world? Are we holier? Are we holier? Do people in general take seriously the Ten Commandments? Are we healthy emotionally? Psychiatrists, psychologists, therapies? Jesus knows the answer at the end of the world. And because of our faith and our limitations, we can't really know that. So all we can do is take his word for it. And that's what you hear this weekend, his word for it. And his word for it is basically perseverance and faith. That's how we are able to deal with the last things. That's the healthiest way. That's the most spiritual way. But it's a day-to-day challenge. I want to say that after the worst comes the best. And that's our faith in the resurrection of Christ. After the worst comes the best. And when we talk about patience, and I've said this before, patience is suffering through. So it's not suffering, but it's suffering through to something further. Jesus on the cross suffered through. And through his suffering came resurrection. So we're going to love to see the end of the world, because at the end of the world, Jesus appears once and for all, for eternity. And so I leave that thought with you, and think about how we live each day as if it's the end of our life. And I'm not talking about a maudlin thing. I'm talking about an expectancy that today, when we suffer, when we sacrifice, Christ is present. I want to mention the passing of Father Don Sr., whom perhaps you have known about, have read about, have actually heard him preach. Father Don Sr. Died he passed the other day, and we will have his funeral next Monday in Chicago. Please pray for him, and I'll pray for you as we all look with hope on the last day. Thank you.